Queen Zara stared at her reflection, blue skin glowing under white palace lights, gold crown pressing on her temples like a weight. It was her wedding day, and she hated it. She ruled the Valari Empire, a power that stretched across star systems. Her fleets kept whole sectors in line. Her name made weaker rulers nervous. Yet today, she was marrying a human, a man from a small world called Earth. The marriage was not romance. It was strategy. Her advisors said humans had resources they needed: rare metals, water, unique biological samples. If she married one of them, she could claim their planet without war. In the palace gardens, Jake Collins waited alone. To Zara, he looked painfully average. Not tall like the warriors of the war clans. Not built like the stone-bodied miners from the core belts. Brown hair, brown eyes, soft features, plain. Jake worked in the royal library. He read. He walked. He listened more than he spoke. Servants called him the pet human when they thought no one important was listening. At noon, the great hall filled with nobles and dignitaries. Glittering robes, military armor, living jewels from distant moons. They watched with greedy curiosity. Such a powerful queen, they whispered. Marrying that fragile little thing. Jake entered in simple human clothes. No armor, no glowing implants. Only a neat suit and quiet steps. Then he spoke his vows. In perfect Valari. I will stand at your side, he said, in her own language. I will honor your people and your customs. I will always speak the truth. The hall went silent. His accent was almost flawless. His tone calm, steady. His eyes did not look away from hers. Most people could not hold Zara's gaze. They looked down. They trembled. Jake did not. After the ceremony, the celebrations roared to life. Music, strange foods, toast after toast to the queen. Most barely looked at Jake. To them, he was a prop standing beside a crown. A massive ambassador from the Kethel clans shook Jake's hand. The Kethel were legendary for brute strength. They liked to crush bones as a greeting. He squeezed Jake's hand hard. Harder, harder. Jake only smiled. His fingers tightened slightly in response. The ambassador's eyes flicked with surprise. He tried to squeeze more. He failed. Later, a galactic news reporter pointed a hovering cam at Zara. Your Majesty, she said sweetly. Why choose a human? Their kind is so new, so primitive. Before Zara could respond, Jake answered in the Queen's language. Humans may be new, he said, but we learn fast. We prefer friends to enemies. The reporter laughed like he'd performed a trick. How adorable, she said. I'm sure you'll learn many things from her people. Jake smiled, but Zara noticed something. His eyes did not match his smile. That night, they walked through the glowing gardens. Are you happy? Zara asked. Jake thought for a moment. I am where I need to be, he said. That is not the same as happy, she replied. No, he agreed. It isn't. Sometimes duty comes first. Zara watched him in the dim light. He stood relaxed, but there was tension underneath, like a blade hidden in silk. My advisors think you are weak, she said. What do you think? Jake asked. Zara studied him. I think, she said slowly, you're not what you pretend to be. Jake's smile became real for the first time. Most people only see what they expect, he said. It keeps their lives simpler. When they parted at her door, he bowed. Good night, Your Majesty. You may call me Zara, she said. We are married now. Good night, Zara, he answered. Her name sounded strangely gentle in his voice. That night, she stared at the stars above her empire. She had power countless beings envied. But for the first time in years, she felt like someone else in her palace was playing a deeper game than she knew. Somewhere else in the palace, Jake looked at the same stars. He thought of his new queen. She was sharper than his briefings had claimed. That would make his mission harder. And, for some reason he could not admit yet, more dangerous to his own heart. 3 months passed. Zara grew used to Jake's quiet presence. He was polite, soft-spoken. He attended meetings when asked, but rarely spoke. He read. He walked. He listened. But strange details began to pile up. The first incident happened during a formal dinner. The Kethel ambassador had returned, towering over everyone. For thick arms, skin like polished stone, known across the stars for their raw power. A servant stumbled. A heavy crystal goblet shot through the air toward the ambassador's head. It spun fast, enough force to crack bone. Even the ambassador reacted too late. Jake's hand flashed out, faster than Zara could track. The glass stopped an inch from impact. Jake set it in front of the ambassador. then calmly went back to his own plate. Very quick. Human, the kettle rumbled. Reflex, Jake said. I used to play sports back home. Everyone laughed. Zara did not. She had watched elite Valari warriors fight. Their speed was legendary. What she had just seen was faster. The second incident came a week later. She could not sleep and wandered the silent palace corridors. Most lights were dim. Most people asleep. Passing the training hall, she saw lights on inside. Through the window, she saw Jake. He was alone, lifting heavy grav weights. Weights tagged for elite soldiers. Loads that strained her strongest guards. Jake moved like it was a light workout. His breathing stayed calm. Almost bored. The next morning Zara checked the logs. Yes, heavy class. Restricted to her best fighters. But the record said Jake was just a minor Earth diplomat. The third incident shook her more. The Thorian collective arrived. Small pale beings with oversized heads and dark eyes. They were feared for one thing, their minds. They could brush against thoughts, taste emotions. Most people hated being near them. Their leader, Zilmoth, came forward at the welcome ceremony. When his gaze slid over the room and landed on Jake, he froze. His black eyes went wide. He stepped back, hard, as if burned. Later, in a private chamber, Zara questioned him. What did you sense? She asked. Your human is wrong, Zilmoth whispered. Most minds are open windows. Some are guarded doors. His is a wall, a solid shell. I see only darkness. Is that common in humans? Zara asked. I have explored thousands of minds, he said. I have never seen anything like his. Not in any species. And certainly not in yours or his. A chill slid down Zara's spine. Humans were supposed to be soft. Easy to read. Easy to bend. Jake was not. That night, Zara pulled up Jake's official records again. On the surface, they were boring. Born on Earth. Studied at universities. Worked in cultural offices. But the more she looked, the stranger it became. His exam scores were perfectly average. Not high. Not low. Exactly in the middle. His early jobs were the same. Placed in embassies on 3 different worlds. Each one had undergone quiet political shifts shortly after he left. Coincidence, her advisors would say. Zara did not believe in coincidence. Zara decided to test him. During a casual dinner, she brought up a recent fleet engagement. On purpose, she changed the numbers. It's tragic about the battle near the Zoran system, she said. I heard the Helix fleet lost 5 ships. Jake's expression turned solemn. 7, he corrected softly. The Helix commander approached on the sunlit side. The Morak ships were hidden in the shadow arc. They were waiting. Zara's blood cooled. Those tactical details were classified. Only top-level military staff knew the exact numbers. Where did you hear that? She asked. Jake looked up. For a heartbeat, his gaze turned sharp. Predatory. Then the softness slipped back into place. I read about it in the war archives, he said. Strategy fascinates me. After dinner, she checked. There were no public archives with those details. Someone was lying. Over the next weeks, Zara watched Jake more closely. He always seemed to know when someone approached. His eyes flicked toward doors a second before they opened. He never flinched when guards entered. He was never startled. The staff treated him differently too. Respectful. Careful. Not the way they treated other harmless guests. It took her time to realize what it was. They were wary. As if on some instinct, they sensed danger under his quiet surface. One evening, Zara found him alone in the library. You have been watching me, Jake said without looking up. I watch everyone, she replied. It is my job. This is different, he said. You are trying to solve a puzzle. Should I be? She asked. Jake closed his book slowly. Everyone has secrets, he said. Even queens. Yes, she agreed. But most secrets don't involve impossible reflexes and hidden battle data. His smile was small and tired this time. What would you do? He asked. If someone close to you was not who they claimed to be. That depends, she said, on who they truly are and why they lied. And if the truth was more dangerous than the lie, he asked. Then I would want that truth even more, she answered. Their words were calm. But beneath the surface, something else moved. A second conversation. One made of suspicion, fear, and something that felt uncomfortably like trust. Jake stood. Good night, Zara, he said. When he left, she remained alone between silent shelves, mind racing. He was hiding something. Something big. But she was almost certain of one thing. Whatever his secret was, it was not about hurting her or destroying her empire. The question was no longer if he was lying. The question was why. Zara's birthday festival was the grandest night of the year. Music echoed through high halls. Guests from 100 worlds laughed and drank. The air shimmered with floating lights and alien perfumes. But not every guest came to celebrate. Hidden among them was Vekshar, the most feared killer from the Scar Dominion. His black-scaled body bent light around him. His claws could slice steel. He had ended rulers, generals, and entire bloodlines. The Scar hated the Volari. Killing Zara would fracture the empire. Vekshar slipped through the palace unseen. Security fields did not catch him. Cameras saw nothing. He slid past guards like a shadow that chose its own path. In a private dining hall, Zara hosted a small circle of her most important allies. Military leaders, trade magnates, planetary governors. Jake sat at her side. Quiet. Relaxed. The harmless husband. "Excuse me," he whispered to Zara. "I need some fresh air." She nodded. He walked out toward the balcony. Moments later, Vekshar dropped his cloaking. He appeared in the middle of the room like a nightmare. 7 feet of jagged black scales and burning red eyes. The temperature in the room seemed to fall. "Queen Zara," he rasped. "Your rule ends tonight." Guests froze. Even hardened veterans who had heard stories about him paled. Zara reached for the emergency weapon hidden under the table. Vekshar was faster. His claws swept toward her throat. Then reality broke. Jake was suddenly behind the assassin. No footsteps. No blur. He was just there. As if space itself had moved him. Vekshar snarled and spun, shocked. "Impossible," he hissed. "I heard nothing. I felt nothing." "Hello," Jake said calmly. "Bad night to pick this palace." What followed took less than half a minute. But for everyone watching, it stretched into eternity. Vekshar attacked with everything he had. Claws lashing like lightning. Body twisting like a snake made of knives. He used killing forms that had ended legendary warriors. Jake flowed around every strike. He didn't look wild. He looked precise. When a claw came for his head, he wasn't there. When Vekshar lunged, Jake shifted by inches. Every dodge was exact. Efficient. Then Jake attacked. No weapons. Just hands and feet. Each strike landed with surgical accuracy. Neck. Knee. Ribs. Joints. Vekshar tried to cloak again. He vanished to everyone else. Jake still hit him. "How?" the assassin gasped. Invisible claws flailed and met empty air. "I can hear your heart," Jake said. "I can feel the air shift when you move. I don't need to see you." Jake caught his wrist, twisted, and pressed fingers into a point at the base of his neck. Vekshar's whole body went limp. He collapsed to the floor, still conscious but unable to move. Jake tied him with a thin cord from his pocket. Checked him for hidden weapons. Disarmed 3. Then he smoothed his hair and straightened his clothes. "Is everyone okay?" he asked. No one answered. They stared. These were veterans of wars. Leaders of fleets. They had just watched a weak human defeat the deadliest assassin in known space with his bare hands. General Cor finally managed to speak. "How did you do that?" he whispered. "I had a good instructor," Jake said. "Or several." Zara stood on shaking legs. "Jake," she said quietly. "What are you?" Guards stormed the room, weapons drawn. They stopped dead at the sight of Vekshar on the floor. "We detected an intruder," the guard captain stammered. "Then our systems lost him." "How did you capture him, Your Majesty?" "We didn't," Zara said, gaze fixed on her husband. "My human did." When Vekshar was dragged away to a secure cell, the guests scattered. Soon only Jake and Zara remained in the ruined dining room. The table overturned. Walls scarred by claws. 30 seconds, Zara said. 28, Jake replied. "But who's counting?" Her laugh cracked into something closer to a sob. "I shared a palace with you for months," she said. "I watched you tend plants. Read stories. Act gentle." She stared at him like a stranger. "And then you do this." Jake looked exhausted. Like the mask he wore all day had grown heavy. "Zara, I don't," she said, voice hard. "No more half-truths. No more polite lies." She drew in a breath. "You will come to my private chambers. You will tell me everything." Jake held her gaze. "Yes," he said. "It's time." In Zara's private room, the shields hummed to life. No bugs. No ears. No recordings. They sat across from each other. The air between them felt like a battlefield. "Start talking," Zara said. Jake looked out at the stars. Then back at her. "My name is Jake Collins," he said. That part was true. The rest, not so much. "What are you?" she asked. I'm not a simple cultural worker, he said. I'm an operative of Earth's Special Operations Division. We call it SOD. Most humans don't even know we exist. You're a spy, she said flatly. Among other things, he admitted. Explain. Jake took a slow breath. When Earth first learned about the wider galaxy, he said, we realized we were in trouble. Every species out here had a gigantic head start. Bigger fleets, older tech, deeper alliances. He held her gaze. If we looked dangerous, you would all crush us before we could grow. So we did the only thing we could. We hid. We played small. Harmless. You pretended to be weak, she said. We were weaker, Jake replied. But humans had one edge. We adapt. Our bodies and minds bend under pressure and come back stronger. We don't have a single special power. We can learn any. Zara thought of his speed, his strength, his calm. So Earth created these operatives? Jake nodded. SOD agents are trained to push human limits. Physical, mental, emotional. We study alien cultures, military doctrines, weak points. We embed. We watch. We prepare. And marriage to me? Zara asked, expression cold. Part of the mission, Jake said, voice soft. Marry into the most powerful empire. Stay close to the throne. Make sure Earth is never blindsided by Valari plans. Her jaw tightened. Was any of it real? She asked. He closed his eyes for a moment. At the beginning, he said, no, you were a target, a profile, a risk. And now, Jake stood, walked to a wall panel, and murmured a code in a language she didn't know. A hidden compartment opened. Inside, advanced weapons, data cores, comms, tools Earth should not have had yet. He handed her a slim storage device. These are my real reports, he said. From day 1 until 3 days ago. You'll see exactly how I thought about you in this place and how it changed. You expect me to just believe you? She asked. No, Jake said. I expect you to read and decide for yourself. What else has Earth done? She demanded. How many agents? I can't give numbers, Jake said. But there are humans embedded in several governments. Militaries, trade guilds, quiet positions with loud access. Zara began pacing. So my empire, my council, my allies, all targets. Not targets, Jake insisted. Variables, threats, potential partners. We studied everyone because we were the smallest piece on the board. Small pieces get crushed unless they're smart. She stopped and glared at him. And your abilities? SOD training. Years of breaking and rebuilding. Learning to control heartbeat. To move at full speed without wasting motion. To use every sense. To stay calm when others fall apart. So what is my marriage now? She asked. A cover? A tool. It started as a cover, he said. But I stopped sending detailed reports 2 months ago. Why? She demanded. Because every time I wrote about you like an asset, he said quietly, I felt like I was betraying someone I'd come to care about. Not a queen. Not a profile. You. Silence stretched. This morning, Zara said, I was married to a quiet human from a fragile little planet. Tonight, I learn I'm tied to a covert super soldier from a world that's been quietly infiltrating galactic power. I know it's a lot, Jake said. That's not the phrase I'd use. She looked down at the data core in her hand. If I read this, she said softly, will I hate you? You might, Jake admitted. The early reports are cold. Clinical. I wrote about you like you were a threat to neutralize. But the later ones. Yes, she pushed. The later ones are a mess, he said with a bitter smile. An operative slowly falling in love with the one person he was never supposed to see as human. She stared at him for a long time. Whatever happens next, Jake said, is your choice. You can expose Earth. Use this to gain leverage. Have me executed. Or she asked. Or we find a way to move forward, he said. Together. Or apart. But honestly this time. She didn't answer. He headed for the door. Jake, she said. He stopped. Despite everything, she asked, voice low. Do you love me? Truly? Or is that just another part of the mission? He turned. For once, there was no mask at all. Zara, he said, I love you more than my orders. More than my duty to Earth. More than my own survival. That's my most dangerous secret. When he left, she was alone with a galaxy-changing truth in the palm of her hand. Outside, the stars looked the same. Inside, nothing was. Word of Vekshar's failure spread like fire through the hidden networks of the galaxy. A human, a diplomat, had beaten the Scar's perfect killer. The Scar Dominion reacted with rage. They moved 12 war fleets toward Valari space. More firepower than they had used in any war in generations. Their goal was simple: crush the Queen, crush her empire, crush the humans that humiliated them. In the war room, Zara stood before a glowing star map. Jake stood at her right. Generals and advisors filled the ring. They bring 12 fleets, General COR reported. If we meet them alone, we will bleed deeply, even if we win. What about Earth? Zara asked, looking at Jake. That depends on what you decide, Jake said. For 3 nights, Zara had read his real reports. Every cold observation, every careful calculation, every entry where the tone slowly shifted from tactical to personal. It had been like watching someone learn how to feel in real time. Now, everyone was waiting for her answer. I am calling an emergency session of the Galactic Council, she said. Her advisors stared. Your Majesty, one protested. We don't have time for politics. You're wrong, Zara said. Politics is exactly what we need. Today, talk will decide tomorrow's battles. 2 days later, the council hall shook with voices. Representatives from dozens of species packed the tiers. Rumors had already spread. About the assassin. About the human. Zara stepped up to the central podium. Jake sat among the spouses section. To most, he still looked like a harmless accessory. Members of the galactic community, Zara began. We are gathered because it is time to correct a dangerous mistake. She let the silence deepen. For too long, we have treated humans as small, soft, simple, useful, perhaps, but never equal. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The truth, she said, is very different. The Thorian delegate rose. What do you mean, Your Majesty? 3 days ago, Zara said evenly. A Scar assassin attacked me in my private hall. You all know his reputation. He has ended dynasties. She turned slightly. He was defeated in under half a minute. By my human husband. With no weapons. No armor. No implants. The chamber exploded with disbelief. One exceptional anomaly, the Kethel ambassador shouted, does not change the nature of a whole species. Zara smiled faintly. You are right, she said. One human does not. So let us not pretend he stands alone. She looked toward Jake. Jake, she called. Join me. He rose and walked calmly to the podium. Thousands of eyes followed him. My name is Jake Collins, he said, voice resonating clearly. I am an operative of Earth's Special Operations Division. For 5 years, our agents have been placed quietly across your systems. Learning, watching, preparing. The silence was absolute. We knew that if we appeared dangerous too soon, we would be erased, Jake said. So we appeared weak while we grew strong. The Scar representative surged to his feet, scales flaring red. You dare admit this? He roared. You spy on us all. You crawl into our governments like insects. Jake met his rage with calm. Every species here has done whatever it needed to survive, he said. Humans are no different. We just had less time. Zara stepped beside him. I reveal this not to expose Earth as a threat, she said, but to recognize what they really are. A species capable of matching any of us in will and creativity. They are not tools, not pets, not background workers. She drew herself up, crown gleaming. Today, I declare a full alliance between the Valari Empire and Earth. Military, technological, political, as equals. Outrage, fear, shock. The chamber boiled. You side with liars? The Scar representative spat. With spies against your own kind? I side with those who prove their worth, Zara said. And I choose a future built on understanding and adaptation, not arrogance and underestimation. Far away, Scar fleets dropped from faster than light near Valari space. They expected chaos, panic, an empire unprepared. They found 2 forces waiting together. At the edge of Valari territory, the Scar War Armada arrived. Their ships were brutal, sharp angles, heavy weapons, built to crush and burn. They did not expect resistance like this. Valari warships stood in formation. Sleek, beautiful, deadly. Beside them, unfamiliar vessels waited. Human ships, smaller, stripped of ornament, moving with eerie coordination. From the Valari flagship, Zara watched the battle map. Jake stood near the tactical console, eyes scanning patterns only he seemed to fully understand. Scar fleets advancing in wedge formation, General COR said. Their usual tactic. Good, Jake replied. They're predictable. The battle began. Valari ships met the Scar head-on, holding the line. Human ships darted around the edges. They moved in tight packs, striking where Scar shields overlapped, where exhaust vectors were exposed, where Scar doctrine had never bothered to defend because no one else had ever thought to strike there. Human commanders called out rapid, clipped orders. Valari captains adapted on the fly, learning new patterns in real time. For the first time in centuries, the Scar war machine hesitated. 6 hours later, it broke. Half their fleets were wreckage. The other half fled in disarray. Across the galaxy, feeds lit up with the same unbelievable headline. Scar Dominion suffers first major defeat. Human Empire Alliance shatters their advance. Back in the capital, messages flooded in. Rulers who had once ignored Earth now begged for meetings. Trade deals, mutual defense pacts, science exchanges. On the palace balcony, Zara and Jake stood side by side. Below them, crowds cheered. Above them, the sky looked calm. But nothing in the galaxy was the same. Do you regret it? Jake asked quietly, revealing everything. Standing with us. Zara watched the stars. I regret that it began with lies, she said. But I do not regret where we stand now. The galaxy finally sees you. Sees humans. That matters. And where do we stand? He asked. At the start of something new, she said. An empire and a world, not chained by fear, but bound by choice. In the months that followed, more human operatives stepped into the light. They became official ambassadors, advisors, officers. The story of soft, naive Earth died. Some species fumed at the deception. Others admired the audacity. All of them adjusted. Years later, on the anniversary of the battle, the palace garden was different. Children played there. Some with blue skin. Some with human brown. Some with a little of both. Jake told them stories. Once, he said, as they looked up at the stars, the galaxy thought humans were weak. Harmless. Background noise. The children laughed. To them, that idea was ridiculous. They lived in a world where humans and Valari worked as partners, where their mother was a queen, where their father was the man who had changed how the stars saw his entire species. Late at night, when the palace had gone quiet, Jake sometimes stood alone at the window. He remembered missions, lies, masks he had worn, and he remembered the moment he stopped hiding. Humanity had done what humans always did under pressure. They adapted. They endured. They planned. But their greatest victory was not tricking other species. It was earning a seat at the table without burning the galaxy down to get it. They had shown their true strength at the right time. Not just strength of muscle or mind, but strength of patience, loyalty, love. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again, and humanity would never again have to pretend to be less than it was.